now that you're doing more, even more episodes, and you have a lot of content available, and you're going to be producing one per day for a while, has your business or your network or your income changed? Or do you think that it'll change as you go to daily episodes for a while and having all those different conversations per week? Basically, if it has, can you share what has changed and or in what way you think it's going to change because of doing all the extra content?
Yeah, I think if I had been a little more diligent about my targeting, the answer probably would be yes. I think the answer is going to be maybe. Just because I interviewed people who made sunscreen and like interviewed people who, just did random stuff like that people knew. And then like somebody knew I was doing a podcast. So like, hey, I'd love to have, my friend would love to be on your podcast. And like, I was accepting just about everybody. It took me a while to get a little more selective. And I think Podmatch helped with that, honestly, with just the process of like identifying not better people. That's not the right way to say it. Everybody that has been on my show, I think is fantastic. But people who serve my target persona a little bit clearer would be the way to say that. So yeah, I think if I do it properly, which is to front load, and this is another thing I didn't mention, potentially front load some of those guests that have more followers, that have a closer tie to my target persona, even if they recorded further down the line. I've started to kind of figure out like, not just do I release more sooner, but also release more impactful episodes potentially sooner, right? Like I had a guy that does AI, and of course that was the big, buzzword of the summer, right? So why not get him moved up and get him kind of in the mix when we're going out? I've got people that are, 30 to 50,000 followers. I got a guy that just released last week. Jake Henry has 500,000 followers on TikTok, and he just was selected for Forbes 25 under 25 or whatever. And he's like, hey man, like this is about to go live. Do you think we could potentially move this up? I'm like, absolutely. It makes sense for us. It makes sense for him. It makes sense for everybody. So I think being strategic about the pace of release, if you have a bunch of content, definitely would help kind of increase your brand awareness and your income, quote unquote, from whatever podcast you're doing, but also being smart and strategic about the guests you have on, and then the order that you put those out. And also, like, for example, during the summertime, right? Like, I don't think that there was as many people around listening to business podcasts towards the end of summer where like everybody's trying to squeeze out the last few days of summer with their family. Like they're not going to be on the beach listening to like a business podcast, right? But I think when the kids go back to school and everybody kind of hits that September, October into mid-November, when everybody starts to take their break for the end of the year, I think September and October are going to spike again. So I think being strategic about putting as much content out of your target, at your target, when they're going to be around, is probably going to benefit, my business the most, and would benefit anybody's business the most, right? Like get as much content as you can in front of the people that are going to subscribe to your services when they're around.